What's going on, Raider Nation? This is your man Cliff Fortin from the Raider Fan Podcast. How we feeling today? Thursday night kicked off, and I'm just gonna come right out and start saying it. Horrible game. I don't even blame the players. This loss was on the coaching staff. I was totally disgusted of what I saw. I can't believe that's the product that the Raiders are putting out there. To be quite honest, I've been on 2 podcasts already. I've been talking on some boards, and everybody's saying the same thing. This is probably one of the most embarrassing losses that we've suffered in a long time. The experiment with Geno Smith and Chip Kelly needs to come to an end. I know. With the midseason, but that's just not working out. That experiment is not clicking. Chip Kelly is running a vanilla offense. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I've seen better offenses in high school. This is embarrassing. They're not scaring anybody. Nobody is afraid of our offense. There's nothing down the field. His play calling, there's no rhyme to reason. I don't even understand what it is that he's doing. I can't tell you what type of team are we. Are we a running team, pass team? What are we? It doesn't even make sense. His play calling is just vanilla, and I don't even think he knows what he's calling. I think he's just looking at a play sheet and just calling plays just to call them. I mean, I'm going to point out a couple things. He ran a wide receiver screen. Thank God the receiver didn't catch it. You would have got annihilated. And what do? You run the same exact play to the opposite side. I don't know if Chip Kelly's not understanding that they're not playing deep safeties. The linebackers are up close. The safeties are up close because you're not throwing anything down the field. Nothing at all. I don't even think there was a pass past 30 or 40 yards. Well, maybe 30, but nothing 40, 50. Nothing to tell the defense back up. Everything is just rinky-dink. It's pathetic. I just can't understand what he's thinking in this play calling. And then player personnel. Brock Bowers came back, beast. What is it? 12 receptions, 127 yards, 3 touchdowns last week. He gets 1 reception and 31 yards. We're inside the 10, and you have Myers out there instead of Bowers. That's coaching. I'm sorry, that's coaching right there. That's bad coaching. That's bad personnel situation football. That's directly on the offensive coordinator, directly on the head coach. There's no ands, ifs about it. Your best player should be on the field at all times. You have your best player on the bench, and obviously this team doesn't run well without him. So why would you put him on the bench? Is it personally? Do you not like the player? Are you trying not to score points? Because, to be honest, that's your best option, and you benched him. And for what? 12 receptions one week, 1 another week? I'm sorry, that's coaching. I will say, news that came out of the Raiders organization, as expected, a coach was going to get fired. They made the scapegoat. A lot of people said that was going to happen. Special teams coordinator Tom McMahon gets fired, and rightfully so. Special teams, not great. It's not the worst, but it's really not good. Daniel Carlson, money, no matter when he kicked it, gets a PAT block, gets a field goal block. Misses a PAT, gets a field goal block. We're holding on many occasions. Game-winning drives, we need the field goal. We're missing. Carson doesn't miss this. So obviously it's the coaching on special teams as well. But I will say the punting game was good. But 7 punts for almost 300 yards, 3 inside the 20, and we're gonna get into that a little bit. So it's not completely a disaster, but the field goal and the punt and the holding and the returns. Somebody needs to pay a price overall. Coach McMahon seems to be, he is the scapegoat. He's the one that got fired. But I'll tell you what, if I'm the offensive coordinator, if I'm the offensive line coach, if I'm the specialty, if I'm the wide receiver coach, guess what? You're next. I understand that we have rookies on the offensive line. We have rookies, playing split ends. But when you're causing this team to take touchdowns off the field, when negating 30 yards, 40 yards, 10 yards, that's coaching. You're not coaching it up correctly. I've coached high school football. I don't have that many flags, and these are just kids. These were high school kids. So I can't comprehend when you have these professionals constantly hold. That's coaching. That means you're not coaching it up correctly. We get a 30-yard run and it has to come back of holding. We get a touchdown, it has to come back of holding. This is unacceptable, especially with a team that's struggling. But that's the Raider way lately. I mean, think about it. I said this last week that good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose. The Raiders are 2-7 right now. If we got the 2-point conversion, that's a win. If we didn't get the field goal blocked a few weeks back, that's a win. This past week should have been a win. I mean, against Denver, we held them to 10 points. Our defense stepped up and did what they needed to do. and to see our offense and special teams struggle, that's the head coach. I'm sorry, Pete Carroll. I had a lot of confidence in you coming in, but what are you doing? I don't know I can't tell you what this team's about. What's the identity? What are they? I think the next coach should go is going to have to be Chip Kelly. This offense is just too vanilla, and it's not working with Geno Smith. I mean, 16 for 26 for 143 yards and a pick. I mean, he leads the league in interceptions. That's the quarterback coach. That's the offensive coordinator. We have one hell of a running back, in Genty. He's a beast. 16 carries. That's not going to cut it. We should be 20s and 25. We should have more carries than 16. 60 yards and a touchdown. Mind you, we had one come off the board because of holding. Again, another stupid penalty. And then we bring in Tyler Lockett in the receiving corps. He gets 5 receptions for 44 yards. Our number one receiver, who I thought it would be, was Trey Tucker, 2 catches for 28 yards. Brock Bauer, 1 reception for 31 yards. That's the offensive coordinator. That's him just now putting players in the best position to help win this game. When Tyler Lockett is your best receiver for the day, that's saying something. That's bad play calling. That's bad judgment on Geno Smith. But more importantly, that's just bad play design by the offensive coordinator. But I'm gonna get on the head coach for a second, because punting we did good. AJ Cole puts the ball in the 1 yard line, the half-yard line. Even though the offense wasn't moving the ball, we were up 7-0. We were pinning them. So instead of them going 40, 50 yards, 60 yards, they had to go 95. That's not easy to do, and the Raiders' defense was really holding them in the first quarter, and in the second quarter was really doing what they needed to do to keep the Denver's offense at bay. But biggest mistake, it was Pete Carroll, is going for it on 4th down. And instead of punting the ball, putting it within the, even if it's within the 10-yard mark, punting it, make them go the distance. We get sacked. And I'm pretty sure we all knew that was coming. What do we get, 5-6 sacks? Just this offensive line is not stopping the rush. But that play call to go for it on 4th down, you're supposed to be playing to win the game. We're up 7-0. You make a bad call. That call was directly affected this defense. Why? They scored a touchdown right after that. Right down the field, scored a touchdown. Now they have momentum. Momentum is another part of this game. Not just offense or defense or special teams. Momentum will play a big part in this, and that's the head coach. You allowed Denver to open that door. You opened the door for Denver, and they walked in and they scored a touchdown. And that's directly on you. That was a bad play call. Going for the 2-point conversion last week, hindsight, a tie would have been better than the loss. Now look at us. If you pinned them, maybe they wouldn't have got that touchdown. More time comes off the clock and possibly helps us with more momentum, or we win the game, or whatever. It's hard to tell because that was in the second quarter. But Denver made better adjustments than we did. That first couple of drives, first quarter, we looked good offensively. We're running the ball, we're throwing the ball. It was okay, but what happened after that? Where are these adjustments? Denver's coaching staff made wonderful adjustments, and we didn't. And that's another problem that the Raiders do have. They don't make good adjustments. They don't, they just look so vanilla. If you look at, and I'm going to bring Josh McDaniels up from the Patriots. Look at the quarterback over there. Looks very comfortable. When he's throwing the ball, Drake May, it's comfortable. It's not struggling. He knows where the ball is going to go. He knows what the design is. And that's Josh McDaniel. He's a good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach. We found that out the hard way. You look at Joe Flacco in his 40s, comfortable in the pocket, comfortable throwing the ball with the play calling. When you have to match up your quarterback with a good offensive coordinator, Geno Smith looks uncomfortable. He looks unsure of what he's doing. This whole entire Raider offense, they don't even look like they know what they're doing. They hear a play, but they don't know how the play is being ran. That's coaching. That's poor coaching. And I'm gonna, and I'll say it, this week. I'll say it next week, because it doesn't get easier. Now we're playing the Dallas Cowboys next week. What type? I mean, when do we make a real move and the experiment with Geno Smith and Chip Kelly comes to an end? That's destroying this organization. We're 2-7. This Raider fan base deserves better. We've been starving to have something better. Put a good product on the field. Bringing in an experienced coach, we thought that would help, but this has got awful. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. I just expect more, from what we're seeing. Leave your comments in the comment section. Am I thinking too much? Am I hoping way too much? Probably, because I'm a Raider fan. I live on the East Coast, where it's Patriots everywhere. But I'm a true Raider fan. I'm always gonna be. But this is getting a little out of hand. This is embarrassing. And if you look at every player that does an interview, all we're hearing now is frustration, frustration, frustration. When does Pete Carroll lose the locker room? Is he going to have to get rid of Chip Kelly before he loses the locker room? Because it's coming. We got talented players, but they don't want to continue to lose. Maybe it's time for A.O. Smith to get in there, or somebody else, because Geno Smith is just not the guy. So I will say on the defense, it did held it down. This defensive coordinator, he does a great job. He puts these players in positions to win. So that's probably the only good thing that we have. Kai Blue Kelly, 2 interceptions. I mean, you can't ask more for that. Max Crosby is Max Crosby. That dude's just a beast. Butler gets a sack. So we've got good players on the defensive side. They're the reason why we're staying in a lot of these games. It's just the offense. The offense needs to help out, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, Chip Kelly's not the guy. He's just not the guy. It's not working out. I don't have the answers, but it's not Chip Kelly. So leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Should Chip Kelly be fired? Maybe he's the next coach that needs to go. And if so, who do we bring in for an offensive coordinator? We need something. We need something now, because if we continue losing games like this, Pete Carroll's going to lose the locker room. So until next week, let's go Raiders.